Okay, so they added balance Minnow. Where's balance Minnow? Looks pretty alright. Arya's Curse. 0 pips. 50 balance damage and expel all minion. Wait. Expel all minions to enemy and ally. So if there's a minion on the field, I'm assuming. I'm assuming that's what that is. Okay. It has parentheses, so I'm assuming that means it's protected. So protected 75 heal over time for 3 rounds. And you get a 50 blade for 1 pip. Okay. So it's the category of heal slash pips. 475 health. Okay. Compared to what? If it's heal slash pips, so it has more HP than a myth, which is considered a tank. I mean, ice has 500, so... Life has 475, so they both have 475. But this is considered more of a tank than while this one's giving pips, I'm assuming. What's the third card? 200 and swap a heal and a damage over time. Wait, swap heal. I feel like that's actually kind of good. Yeah, that actually sounds kind of nice. Especially against certain fire enemies that put DOTs on you. Actually, like, seems nice. Sanction, 100 damage, and a 200 protected heal for 4 rounds on self. So if you were to do this and for some reason you're gonna hit with this, it doesn't swap your heal because it's protected. So same thing if this. So if you did this and then you hit with overruled, you're not gonna be losing your heal because it's protected. So just take off the protected part of the heal. That's actually good. So at least it's protecting itself. That's kind of what the other ones did with like the protected shields, I believe. Like certain ones had protected shields for certain forms, if I remember. Embolden? Is that what it says? 3 pips and 1 pip on self if enemy or allies have a minion. So you expel minions and also you reach a certain mechanic where you gain a pip depending on the minion. I guess that is good, but I mean, I feel like just to trigger that second part, I feel like this is just good just to give somebody pips. If you know you don't have a hit, you can just give like your ally 3 pips. Like that's so easy. And you get a bonus pip, so yeah, that's actually what, start off with 2 pips essentially. Next turn, just donate all 3 pips to a hitter. Huh. Just cause. So it does a 125 heal for 5 rounds, and it gives 100 blade to everybody. That's actually, and it's protected. Wait, if we're comparing it to other stuff, like, let me look at Balance Croc. This is a 125 trap and a 75 shield. Wow, that is... Yeah, I guess they have their own rights, right? So like if you want to use Croc for the trap and the shield, you would use that. But if you want to rock a Minnow for a heal and a blade, yeah, I guess they have their own stuff, right? Just for that, because this one's more pip oriented. But still, this is, I feel like it's going with the theme of healing, because you have all these protected heals. Okay, what does it gain at tier 2? Righteous Strength, 200 heal protected for 4 rounds, and clears a heal and a... Huh. Well, it says it clears it, so I don't know how that would work if it's protected. Does it just take the protected part and still give you a pip? Or does it remove it completely? Because if you had this heal on and then you use something like Overruled, which triggers this to not be protected anymore. So let's say you hit with Phantasm, then you hit with Overruled, so that does like 250. It takes off the protected part, and then you do a heal, but you also remove your other heal for pip, so this becomes like a 0. So it's just like an upgraded heal. That's the only thing you're getting. You're not getting a buff out of it. Okay. Tier 3 you get Raw, Sweeping Sanction, 200 AoE, and 100 healing over time for 4 rounds on allies. Don't know if I would be ever using this. I can see the theme, but I don't think I would ever be using this. At least in PvE, Beastmoon. 2 pips and swap a heal. Okay, so this is like on an ally. Oh, no. This is shift, so it's on an enemy. Wait, this is an ally or an enemy? If it's on allies, then that's... You're giving your 2 pips, and maybe if you have a heal on you, you want to get rid of the heal, give it to somebody else, and you don't need it. So like if you use something like this, where it gives you a 200 heal over time, let's say you don't want it, and someone else needs it badly, you swap it to them, and if they're getting hit with an overtime, you get hit with the overtime while they get the heal, and they also gain 2 pips. If that's the case. If it's on enemies, I don't know how useful that will be. Because you're giving them 2 pips. So I think it just makes sense if it's on an ally. To me, that makes the most sense. If it's an enemy, I don't think this spell is useful. And then this is like the main thing that was shown in the teaser, which is the summon a minion of something. So basically, it's like the balance minion. Like it might be fire, ice, or storm. I believe so. I think balance has a spell like that. Still though, the image looks nice. And it's 0 pips. So level 5 is actually like beneficial. But you're also getting hoarded with cards that you might not use. Like I don't think I'm ever going to use Raw. I probably will. If I'm using treasure cards, I would probably use maybe an extra heal or an extra 2 pip. Don't know if I would carry an extra minion. I would have to see what these minions do. Like what's their health looking like, depending on the minion. I feel like that's in consideration. If it's all the same health and just the different cards, then of course it would fall underneath a certain category. Overall, not a bad form though. Not a bad form. And of course tier 5 of course just increases the battle cards. Then we have Ice Draconian. Where is it at? I remember the last time I played there was Death. So now we have Ice. It's a tank and a damage for 500 HP, 1 bonus pip. Take cover, 75 and a 75 if ally has a minion. So a lot of stuff is minion based now, from what I'm seeing. At least in my eyes, at least. So 75 and a 75, and 0 pips. Cutting wit, 75 and a taunt for 2 rounds, I'm assuming. I have to see what the other cards are. This will depend on that. I feel like this is good though. If you have Ice Draconian and maybe like a Stormrat. If I remember, because Stormrat is goated for its Dispel. And if you're taunting them, you're kind of they're forced to hit the ice, especially for 2 rounds. Summon an ice minion. Okay. Don't know what cards it does, so I wouldn't know. It's probably just shielding. Dragon skin, 100 and a shield on a stun block for all allies. Is that better than Ice Colossus? So for 3 pips you get 200 and a stun block, while this one gives 100 and a stun block. But it only does it to 1 person though. It gives a stun block on all the allies, but it just gives 100 shield to 1 person, I'm assuming, because if we go back to Ice Colossus, yeah, Ice Colossus has a symbol of an AoE, so that's like on everybody, like all your teammates, while this one's just single, but it's specifying there's a stun block on all your teammates. So okay. Icy Rage, clear weakness for a -75 on the enemy. That's actually good against like Death Ninja Pig, right? Doesn't Death Ninja Pig have something similar? Yeah, it has this -100. So that's a good counter to that. Just completely and just reverse it on them. And you're also doing 225 damage for 3 pips. So from what it seems like, you're more of like a tank, like how it specifies. You're going to be tanking all your damage. You're going to be trying to make the enemy focus you. And if they ever weakness you, that's your time to shine. Clear the weakness, give them the weakness back, and you're also doing damage in return. And you just go back to doing what you're doing with the whole tanking strat. Warcry. 200 AoE, and you taunt the enemy. That's situational. I still would rather just use Cutting Wit. It still does the 2-round taunt. Yeah, even in PvE, I don't think I would use this. PvP, I feel like these are more useful than this still. It was good, Dan. Level 2 Spitful Resolve. So 0 pips, does 50 damage and 75 shield if enemy has a weakness. So I guess this is a good combo. You hit with the Icy Rage. So let's say you have a weakness on you. You remove the weakness. You give them the weakness. You do damage. And if they're still alive and they don't hit you for some reason, you hit them again with a 0 pip. And then you gain a shield because they have a weakness. So... I still think that's a good card. And just in general, I think a 0 pip or 50 damage is still very useful in that regard. Best advantage, 1 pip, 75 trap, and clears a blade for 25 trap on everybody. But the thing is with this, you don't gain any blades. Unless there's something at 4 and 5, but I feel like you have to be paired with somebody that gives a blade on everybody for it to be useful. The trap is still good, like if you're in the first slot, but I don't know about clearing the blade. Dragon armor, so you went from dragon scale, or dragon skin to dragon armor. So this one's a 200 shield on everybody and 100 shield if we have a minion. So if you have this minion up and then you can combo into this. It just depends on if you're saving up pips. Because that is a 300 shield. What's the Colossus one? So yeah, so this is more of a dedicated tank. So I guess they have to like make it so it's not just too OP and it just overshadows Colossus. That would make more sense. And then the last card, Cold Shoulder. 2 pips, 150, and you put a minus 50 on the enemy. If you're taunted, you hit with this, you do damage, you get taunted, then you hit with this, and then you're forced to give them a weakness. And then if they still have a weakness on them, you hit them with Spitful Resolve. You hit them, you gain a shield because they have a weakness. So if you're going second, so you would do this turn 1 because you would be going first, and then you're on the next following turn, you're second. So you'd hit with this because you're second, and then the other following turn, you're going to be going first. So you hit with this because they can't get off the weakness in time. That's actually so annoying. So you're taunt, and you damage, you get a weakness, and then you gain a shield because they have a weakness. Sounds good. It really does. Is this the beast transforming thing, or is it something else? No, it's the Beastmoon stuff. I'm just looking at all the new forms. I know we have fire at. Where is he at? Ooh, we have some new icons. It's just mainly the fire stuff, I'm pretty sure, right? They just reused the image or no? No, that looks like a new image. Unless I'm trolling. Unless this is like a death image and they just copy and pasted that. Because I don't remember what the PvP spells look like. So you're damage and a healer. Do 75 and then you heal. Wait. Oh, so it's just Link, but it only does the heal if you already have an overtime heal on you. Okay. Douse the flames, you pacify yourself for 2 rounds. Okay. Shimmering heat, 200 overtime, and you clear shield for a trap. Well, yeah, it's not gonna do damage right off the rip, so that's fine if it gets rid of the shield. Toasting fire, you do 125 and you summon a you summon a healing minion if enemy has an overtime. See, same thing with this. You have to see what that minion does for it to be like viable or not. Refined fire, you do a 300 heal overtime and you clear a trap to activate the heal. Huh. It sounds good, but I would have to see this in person to actually understand a little bit clearly what that means. Then boiling heat. I actually love this spell. I'm glad it's in Beastmoon. It used to be on the Hades armor. I think it still is on the Hades armor. Animation wise, it looks so nice. But it does a 300 overtime on everybody and clears their shields for a 125 trap. So if you're going against like a Minnow or an Ice, or yeah, if you're going against someone like this, where the Ice Colossus, where they just are being annoying and they're spamming this, you can just troll and go to your rat, use this, and but of course you have to have 4 pips. You'll start off with what, 3, technically, or 2. Yeah, that sounds nice. But if you're fighting against like a Life Draconian, I think Life Draconian has triage. Yeah, it pushes the overtime. What else does it do? I swear Life had like a triage type mechanic. Okay, maybe it's a different one. I know one of them has like a triage type thing, but still it pushes the overtime, so I feel like that would be kind of annoying to go against. But still, like for 4 pips, I think that's still kind of good. So you're basically doing 100 per tick. But that first one, if you do have a shield on them, you're gonna do 225 for that first tick. We got a elephant, boiling point, 300 overtime, so 100 per round, and a 125 trap if enemies have a minion. So same thing like this, but it's just less. It's 2 less pips, but it's a single target. So it's good against like for example, like the new Ice Draconian that might spam shields, or if they have a minion up. It might be good against the Minnow, the Myth Minnow, because of the metal minion, because 0 pips. Might be good against Myth Draconian as well, because it has the puppet that just keeps literally spamming pips. So for that regard, it might be good if you're fighting one of those enemies. Still, I think that's still pretty good though. Then we have Ifrit. S'more power. 75 for 3 rounds, so 25 per round. And expel a minion to summon a healing minion. Does that mean any minion on the field, or is it just ally minion? Because it doesn't have like it doesn't signify if it means allies or not. If it's any minion on the field, that's good. Like if enemies have a minion and you use this and it expels their minion, so you can summon a minion for 0 pips, that's a direct counter. But if it's a minion of like your own, I don't know how useful that is. But 100%, if it's enemy minions, that's actually really good. Forges fire. Okay. 3 pips. It does a 400 heal for 4 rounds, so 100 per tick. It's not protected. And you give 1 pip if ally has a heal, or if you have a heal, just whoever you put this on. So where do you even get the... Yeah, I think it's all centered around refined fire. But the way is you have to rely on that trap to activate the heal though, from what I'm understanding. But that's a heal on yourself. I don't think that's anybody. I guess unless you cast it on an ally and it activates the heal, and then you do this. But I feel like it's a waste of 5 pips at that point. And then the last card, Cleansing Flame, 375. So it's more pips than this. So it's 125 per round. And you clear on trap on yourself for 125 damage. Huh. 5 pips. So I guess that's like the difference between these two. These will remove the shield for the trap. This will remove the trap that's on you to give the damage straight up, and you're doing more overtime technically. Because per pip. I don't know if I would use this over Storm Rat. If I'm being honest, because these spells right here are just too good. Storm Rat is just way better in my opinion than this new fire one. Then we have Death Wolf. Tank and Enfeeble. 550 health. Okay. Grimbite, 500 damage and minus 50 if enemy has it. If enemy's health is greater than 50. Okay, so like something you would use right off the rip. I mean, 0 pips, you don't... What's the cost of it? Taunt for 2 rounds. So you can taunt. So you can force people to target a certain enemy. Still though, would you do it on yourself or would you do it on an ally? I guess it depends on the situation. A 50 drain, okay. 150... Wait, 150 weakness and 50 weakness on all enemies if ally is taunted. Or if you're taunted. Is the 150 included on all the enemies? I doubt it. I think the 150... Because if it was 150 on everybody, that's broken. But if it's 150 on just one target and then the 50 on top of that, if you're taunted, still, one of the enemies is going to get hit with a minus 200 at that point. Because you can just use this turn 1 and then just use that. And the only way to cleanse it off is if you have like... if we go to... like something like this, Icy Rage. But it would only remove 1, so you're still gonna have to deal with the other one. And if it's covered, you're kind of just chalked. Because it'll only remove the first one. It's not gonna remove the second one. So if it does the 150 and then the minus 50 on top of that, you're only removing the 50. So you're stuck with the 150 weakness. Which is very annoying. But I mean, it forces you to be taunted, I guess. Steal Hope. 150 weakness on everybody. And you steal an overtime heal. That depends on the matchup. If you're not fighting anybody that has heals, then it's kind of just... You're just putting a weakness on them for 140. But that's still taking a part of... Like, why would I do that for 4 pips? When I can use this for 3 pips. Right? Or the Draconian. Let me see. What's Draconian heal? Yeah, like you're getting a 300 from this. That's more value in my opinion. But if you're fighting multiple enemies, I guess, yeah, that would be better. Because it does it on everybody. So you're giving a 150 to everybody instead of you just having a shield that does 300 or 200 that anybody can use. So, yeah. Bone Tree Lord. I'm assuming that's a spell card name, but that's called Teeth of Pain for Beastmoon. So 200 AoE, and you put a minus 75 if enemy's health is greater than 50 for 5 pips. The animation time is going to be annoying too. I mean, it'll probably spawn in quick. It's just going to hit them with the tree and that's it, I would assume. But if it's not, that's going to be annoying animation wise. And then what did we get? Protect Packmate. 75 shield or 150 if person is taunted. So you can use this on yourself after you get taunted. Yeah, if you don't have a good move. Or whoever gets taunted. I feel like this form is kind of lining up a little bit with the Ice Draco. Just because Ice Draco taunts himself as well. It just lines up perfectly for some reason. Taste of Fear, you do 150 and you clear your own blade for a 75 shield. Same thing with this though. Where are you getting the blades from? Like, you're kind of relying on somebody to give you blades. Unless there's something that gives you a blade. Chilling Growl. 3 pips. And you're to a single target, you're doing a minus 225. And you're stealing a healing over time. Dude, this person does not want you to heal. Like, if you're healing against this person, they just don't want it happening. They will try their best to steal it off of you. Then Howl of Ill Omen. 25 death damage or 150 drain if allies' health is greater than 50. Well, greater than 50%, that's what I mean. I read that wrong. But still, so if it's greater than 50%, it's only going to do 150. But if it's less than 150, you're doing 225. From what I'm understanding. I guess you would use this more as a finisher. But if you're fighting somebody and you're like really low, I guess you can use this as a starter. But to me, this seems like more of like a finisher type spell than anything. Because it's the one that does the most DPP. Yeah. This one's an okay form, but I think this one is, to me, is more of like a situational of who you're fighting against. In PvE Beastmoon, I don't think I'm gonna be using this. I think everyone kind of just knows what the PvE Beastmoon looks like. It's just mainly like what? Storm Elf, Storm Rat, and then like probably like 2 supports like in the main team, and then it doesn't matter who's fighting on the side teams really. I think there's 1 form left, Myth Colossus. This model's kind of like, it doesn't even let me zoom in and out. It's a tank and a damage dealer. 550 HP. Another minion. A lot of minions. It's 50 damage and summons a minion. Or if you're... Wait. Or taunt if an ally has a minion. So if you already have a minion up, does it's not... I guess it just doesn't do the... It doesn't do the summoning. So if one of your teammates has a minion, instead of summoning a minion and canceling it, it just taunts the enemy. I would assume, just judging by that image. Grim Gambit. 100 trap and taunt self for 2 rounds. Okay, so it's just a regular 100 trap, but if you already... If you have a shield on you, it taunts you for 2 rounds. Okay. A lot of taunts. 3 out of 3 freaking forms have taunts. What is up with this? Raise Banner. Double the pips for 3 rounds for minion. Depends on the minion. If you have an ally that has a certain minion up that you want to support and give it pips, I feel like that's more beneficial. But we would have to see what these... It's the same thing with the other minions. If I don't know what the minions do, why would I want to use this spell specifically for them to double the pips? Because certain minions just... They don't really use high pip spells. Like, for example, I think the Minotaur. Like, I used to use Myth Minnow a lot. This minion only spams regular shields, and there's a chance whenever it has high pips, it'll use like the shield on everybody. If I think it's this one. No. Okay, I guess it doesn't show on here. But I know the minion does use a shield on everybody, but that's because I know that, right? For this specific minion, for the Myth Colossus, if I don't know what the minion is doing, this might not be useful. And it's only on the minion, it's not like on myself. If this was on myself, of course, that's a little bit too busted, but it's only on the minion. Heavy charge, 250 for 5 rounds. So is that 50 per tick? I think so, right? Yeah, it's 50 per tick. That would make sense. And it steals a shield. Okay, so it's like, so I guess Myth is having overtimes in this situation. Hold fast, 150 trap on everybody, but if you are taunted, you do a 200 trap instead on the Myth and Ice one. These two forms are very heavily based on taunting enemies, or even the Death one too, because the Death one can just force you to get taunted. What was it? I think it's Death Wolf Warrior. Yeah, you can just put a taunt on one of your allies. Who knows? Those two might work together. Just get hit with a taunt and then just follow up with a 200 trap on everybody. I can see it being useful for certain situations though. Flank sweep, 300 for 4 rounds, and steals a shield. Why does this remind me of? Oh, so there's a difference. This steals the shield, then hits for 100, while this puts in overtime and then steals it. But if it's an overtime, it's not going to use the shield right away. So still kind of the same concept. But it's on everybody and it's an overtime, so it's going to take a little bit longer. It's not instant. So I wouldn't really prioritize it. Envelope, 200 trap and 100 shield on self if enemy has taunt. I guess if you're fighting against another enemy that's relying on taunts. So mainly for PvP. You're not going to see this in PvE. So yeah, this form's kind of chalked when it comes to PvE. Unless other than this. But that's so situational in my eyes at least. Push shield. And 75 shield on self if you're taunted. To the last. I'm assuming this is similar to the life one, life Draconian. Where is it? It's this, right? No, it's this. Afterlife, you get a 150. There's also another one that's similar. This one. It's a gambit. So if you ever die, your allies get 100 blade. And then you do 150 damage. That's so similar to that. But in this sense is once you die, all your allies get 200 shield. That's going to be annoying in PvP. And then the last card gets his Total War. 150, and then you also leave a 150 overtime if allies have a minion. To me, this is better than this. Because I feel like it's easier to have this up than this. Yeah, you can trigger this more often than anything. Especially if you get priority and it's turn 1, you can easily trigger this. You'll still deal the same damage as this, but it's just less of a tick than that. I guess they both have their own certain situations, depending on what you're fighting against. But still, I think out of all the forms, to me, the most interesting one has to be the ice one, at least. Just because clear a weakness and you can put a weakness on the enemy. You literally just Uno reverse card. But if it's double stacked on you, that's kind of annoying when you're fighting the, where is it? Is this card? No. This one. No. Oh, this one, yeah, no, it's Howl of Horror. So if you get hit with the 150, And then if you are taunted and you get hit with another 50, it's covered. That's the only thing I can think of that's going to be annoying with that, if you're trying to cleanse it off you. Because you'll cleanse the 50, you just won't cleanse the other one. Because it doesn't say 2, it just says cleanse 1, judging by the image. But I still think this form is like intriguing me a little bit more than the other ones. What's good, Cam? Can't believe I missed the Beastmoon section. One change that I made to Deathwolf is the tier 5 spell is 225 drain with the condition not 150. Wait, Deathwolf. Are you talking about this one? Howl of Ill Omen. Oh wait, so it's gonna flip flop. So it's gonna do a 225 drain. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Cause how I was reading it is it'll do 225 if the HP is less than 50. But if it's greater than 50, you're gonna do a drain of 150. But if it's gonna be flip flopped, that makes more sense. Because you're reaching the condition. Yeah, then yeah, this still good to use at the beginning, in my opinion. Yeah, the death one is intriguing just because of all this weakness and taunting. Like that's the whole mechanic behind it. It's just this to me is gonna seem annoying. This card in particular. This card's gonna be good if you're saying it's gonna be flip-flopped, but this one's gonna be a little bit annoying. But I think that's all the forms. Yeah, we went over balance, ice, fire, death, and myth. Yeah. So though, it's pretty intriguing though. Not gonna lie. Oh yeah, oh, we also got the sword. We got it, man. Got the full fit. That's all of them. I also want to tier up that ice one. Yeah, the ice Draco does look interesting. I think out of all of them, I think the ice one, and then after the ice one, to me, it will probably be the death one. The mini is kind of cracked if you haven't tried it. Yeah, I haven't tried it. I haven't queued up or anything. I just went over here and just looked at the forms. Because I feel like if I want to know a little bit more about all the forms, because the balance one, the balance Minnow, where is it? Tier 5 has this minion. And I can't just judge it right off the rip without seeing what the minion does. Of course it summons a minion, but I gotta see what the minion does. What's good, Gume? Do you still do Beastmoon? I do Beastmoon whenever I can. I still understand the concept of Beastmoon. It's not like I've completely given up on it. It's like the same thing with Decathlon. I understand the concept of it. I literally have a couple deck 9s from when Decathlon was actually like pretty new. Of course, I haven't done Decathlon in a long time, but I still understand the concept. Of course, some strats are tweaked within the year. Same thing with Beastmoon. It used to be Stormwolf and Stormcroc. Of course, Stormwolf isn't used as much now. People are using Stormrat because of that Dispel. Which I still think Stormrat is kind of good. Just because of that. But those are all the forms.